Okay, guys. Hello to everyone. Welcome once again to Creative Believers Network. In short, CBN. Welcome to this tutorials. Today we are going to look at these beautiful tutorials how to design this kind of advert, billboard. Um, right with Photoshop. And to those that you know are beginners, I would advise that you get the beginner course to help you maneuver around things. When you get our beginner course, we mentor you for 1 month and even beyond. Okay, all right. So today we are going to work on this um advertisement. Yeah. So I have my elements all over here. I have the boy. Yeah. So jump straight into Photoshop. I'll create a new project and I'll rename it um um Milky Way. All right, Milky Way, and then I'll choose the size centimeters. Let's say um 50 to 35, and then the resolution, I think 300 or 200 will be fine for the sake of these tutorials. Okay, so that everything will be quite smooth. Now we need to critically look at our design, how the design looks like. I have the elements already. I'll just be inserting the easiest way, right? I will just use the easiest way to design something really quick. Okay, yeah. So the first thing that I will do, I think I'll bring the wood within my artboard. Okay, yes, and then I will accept over here, bring the artboard down here. All right. Okay, you can zoom back to see actually what you're doing. So when you look at this project here, so the next thing that I can do is to bring in the boy, because it is already cropped here, right? I'll bring in the boy. Yeah, our boy is enjoying, right? Okay, so I can decide to reduce the size of the boy. Okay, the focus is not really on the boy, the focus is on the product. So you have to keep in mind that your design must be very, very clean. All right, so the next thing I'll do is to bring in um the powdered milk. Right, it's very huge. Let's reduce the size um to this side. You have to, if we bring it here, it will not make sense. So at least we need to take it upward, so that we'll be able to draw some shadows down. Okay, when something is on a table, you can see a bit of the shadows around because it has light striking to it. Yeah, so the next thing I'll do, I'll just bring in the thing. Okay, I'll bring the thing somewhere here. If I want, I can reduce the size a little bit, and then I'll bring our glass of milk. Right, reduce the size, bring it over here, reduce the size. Um in reality, um a glass is not bigger than this tin of milk and tin of Milo and stuff. So when you look at this in his hand, it's not that big. So basically, we can just bring it a little bit lower than it is. Right, now I have to push this thing close to it. I have to make sure that the position is accurate. Yeah, okay. So the next thing that I'll do is to insert the background here. So I'll just bring in the background, right, drop it somewhere here, and then I'll increase it. There's no need to have this cow here, but this is what we will have if the cow will be part of our project. There's no need to have so much you know busy kind of background. We don't need that now. So we just push it somewhere here, position it rightly. Nice. Okay, I'll just bring select. If you want to select the three objects or three layers at a go, you click the first one or any of them, then you hold shift on your keyboard, select these three, select this, and then you position it the way you prefer, right? Okay, so the next thing I'll do is to bring in this. Okay, we have this image that I downloaded, and so when I add it to the background, kind of it will have a feel as if we are pouring, the milk into the glass. So that was the technique I used. There are other techniques you can use, but then, for the sake of time and these tutorials are well, so I'll just position it behind the wood. If I hide it, you see it very clearly. I'll position it behind the wood. Mind you, we don't want our background to be too busy, right? Okay, zoom back. You can decide to, increase or reduce the size. Okay, pretty much like this. Zoom in, position the cap. Okay, nicely, just down, right? When I hit OK, see the effect that we are having right now. So I can play around with the colors. Control M. I play around with the colors. Okay, the curves of this particular layer. What I will do is that I'll increase the light. Okay, it looks a bit creamy, right? So I'll increase the light, right? Okay, and then I'll make sure there is a clip marks of this, because the light here is a layer, therefore it is affecting all the background, which we don't want. Okay, so I'll just hit here, right click, and then create clipping mask. It will have, the curve will have an effect on only this, only the milky kind of background here. Okay, so the next thing that I will do, I will add some blur effects. Okay, here, so I will do blur, Gaussian blur, right? This is already good for me, 31.8. okay, this is already good for me. So let's zoom in and see what we are able to achieve so far. The boy looks good so far, but I would like to position him over here. Okay, position him over there. Zoom in to see whatever you are doing. The next thing I'll do is to add shadows to these three products, right? So you create a new layer, name it shadow. Mind you, you always have to create a new layer if you want to, create anything new at all, any effect. It's important to create a new layer, right? So I'll choose the brush tool, change the color to this, and come to the brush tool here. I'll make sure it's on round soft, reduce the size, and then I hit it over here. And I'll use the move tool here to scale it. If you want to scale it, you can scale it directly to be big, but then you hold shift and then you can scale it up this way. Come to the side, hold shift, click here, and then you reduce the size. Reduce the size, and then you can rotate if that will be okay for you. There are so many methods, ways and means to create your own shadow, but then I believe that this is the one that I prefer, right? So as time goes on, when you continue as you keep learning Photoshop, you realize that you'll find your own methods and techniques. So with this shadow, I'll hit Ctrl J, duplicate, and I'll bring this one here. What I'll do is that I'll rotate it, reduce the size, right? If I want to make it circular, I'll hold shift and then increase the size, right? Ctrl Z, because we don't want that. I'll just bring it downwards. Okay, downwards over here, hit OK, and then reduce the opacity now to, let's say, 79, and here as well we can reduce the opacity to, let's say, 80, right? I'll duplicate the layer for this shadow, Ctrl J, and then bring it to where the thin mark is. So I'll hold shift and then increase the size for the thin, right? And then come to this side as well. Okay, all right, so let me zoom back. When we zoom back, we can see already what is happening. Yeah, so I'll just click back here, okay, and increase the opacity. I want it to be just a little bit visible, right? Okay, it should just be under the thing, right? This is okay. Hold shift, click here, and then I think we are good to go. So when we zoom back, we can see that, you know, they are you know, standing on a kind of table. You can see the shadows. It doesn't look too edited and stuff, yeah. Just to bring in some realism to whatever we are doing, right? So the next thing I'll do is to bring in this kind of swirls, energy kind of effect, right? Okay, so what I'll do next is to create the, you know, vitamins K, C and stuff. Everybody can do this, it's not difficult. So I'll just create a new artboard, yeah, and then I'll use the ellipse tool, hold shift, right, and then what I'll do is to change the color of the fill, right? Okay, mind you, if you cannot see the properties, kindly go to Windows, right, and then the properties will be right here. Now what I'll do next is to create, okay, is to create another ellipse here, right, over here, hide this, change the color, come to this side, pick this color, and then you go to the brighter version of it, and then you reduce the opacity over here. Okay, now when you reduce opacity, you create a layer mask, right, and then you go to brush, right, and then what you do next is to erase this here. So the next thing I'll do is to Control J, hit duplicate, and then I'll rotate this over here, right, increase the size. I can also increase the size for this, okay, and then duplicate it once more to have kind of three, you know, effect on it, right? So what I'll do now is to select the three, right, and then create a clipping mark so that it will be within this circle. So I'll click here and hold shift, right, and then I'll make sure I make them one object over here. So if I move this here, you will see that I'm able to create something like this. Now what I'll do next is to go back, Control Z, right, and then I'll just write K, you know, K, and then I'll change the color to white, yeah, white, right, K, something like this, right. Okay, so I'll just group this, right, bring it in the group, and then write VK. Okay, so I can duplicate this group and then move this one here. Now mind you, sometimes if you are moving an element in a group, you move it, only one layer within it will move. This is the reason, because the reason is that here when you look at the move to the properties here is on what it states is the layer. So when you select anything from here, the layers that you point will be selected, but then it's supposed to be group. If it is group, any group that you choose on your artboard will just move. Okay, so let's do this, right, and then you click the group here and you hold Control before you can move it. I don't know if you understand, but let's move on. So I'll change this letter to B, okay, and then I'll duplicate this one as well, hold Control, yeah, hold Control, move it, and then do this one C. Are we together? Yeah, so I'll select this one as well, Control J, and then I'll name this one A. right? So the next thing I'll do, I'll just be changing the colors of those behind. Yeah. So when I click on this particular group, I'll make sure I select this, and then double click over here, change the colors to like kind of, this kind of green. Okay. And then I'll come to this guy, this group, double click and change this color to uh, let's say this kind of blue. This will be okay. Now I'll have to change these colors as well. Double click, kind of blue, so light blue. So I'll copy this code here, color code, and I'll make sure I change the ones beside paste, control V, right? I'll change it. You can see it here that is orange and this is blue. Control paste, bam. And then when you come to this guy, you do the same, right? Okay, so you pick the first main color and then choose this kind of green. You copy, right? Because you'll be pasting on all the other colors. Control V, and then click here and do the same for the process. Control V. So the colors will now be matching. All right. So I want to change this color over here, this group. So I will do which color? This kind of red will be fine. And then I will choose this layer, go to pick this red, and then go to off-white. Something whitish will be cool. Choose white, yeah, and this as well. Choose white. Okay. All right. So the next thing that I will do, I have this basic, kind of vitamins icons, and I don't know about I actually don't know, you can name it yourself. Yeah. So the next thing that I can do is to make this a smart object. All of this, the groups, I'm changing them to a smart object. Yeah, smart object. And then I'll pick this and then I'll bring them over here. But before I do that, I want to create the effect that is all over the board. Yeah. So the next thing that I can do before doing that is to bring in the logo, the cowbell logo, drop it over here, right? Okay. All right. So I'll bring in the swirl effect. I downloaded this, I think, on Freepik. Yeah. All right. So you can just drop it over here. You can see the boy, right? You can see the boy. I'll just bring it on top of the boy, reduce the size a little bit. This will be fine. Just hide it a bit. This will be fine, right? All right. So you see that this part, we must also see the lines all over here. So what I'll do is that the first thing that I will do is to duplicate these walls, right? Okay. Yes, I'm interested in the lines over here. So what I'll do is that I'll hit Ctrl T on the one that I just pasted and copied. So I'll hit right click and then vertical. Okay. And then what I have right now is to bring this here. Okay, I'm very interested in the lines, but for now I think we should hide this layer, right? Because I want to erase this portion or this light in front of the board. Okay, so I'll create a layer mask over here, right? I'll create a layer mask, and then I will come to the layer of the boy, hit Control, right? So it will select the boy within, right? And I click on the layer marks of the swirl, hit my brush tool, okay, and then I will erase a little portions of the face, of the hands, okay, so that we can have that kind of transparent effect. Now Control D to deselect, and this is what we have. Now when you come to the second swirls, I was hiding it right now. the second source, we'll create a layer mask for it. Go on brush, reduce, the erase some portions just like this. Okay, so that it will not look as if we are abusing the effect. Okay, all right. So the next thing that I'll do, I'll come to this, create, bring that kind of vitamin look, right? This is my own version. Okay, so I reduce the size. Okay, just bring it over here, reduce the opacity to, let's say, this will be fine. Now you can rotate, we can rotate. Okay, the icons, I bring in vitamins B, reduce the size, let's bring it to the side, reduce it all over here, reduce the opacity. Okay, what I'll do next is to bring this one as well over here, click on the move tool, reduce opacity to this, right? Opacity reduced. And then the next thing that you will do is to bring vitamins C. Okay, reduce opacity nicely. Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, so we have 1 2 3 4 5, right? Okay, so I will, yes, let me look at it again. All right, so I will move this one over here, reduce the opacity nicely, and then this, you see, it look as if it is behind the boy's hand. So what I'll do is that I'll bring it over here and then create a layer mask, right? Use the brush to reduce the size, right? And then you erase this portion where the hands are, so that it will look as if it is moving, but then it is moving all over and even behind. So the movement starts from here, okay, to behind, so it is above his body, right? So what I'll do is duplicate this one as well and then bring it behind, hide it somewhere here, reduce the size. Okay, so what you can do is that you can also duplicate this, right, and then add some movement, some motion blur to it. That is if you want to do that. Okay, so that it will be as if it is moving but with a certain kind of speed, right? We change the rotation. Okay, this will be fine, as we did in one of our tutorials. We hit brush and then you raise this portion. Okay, but this one you bring it behind and make sure the opacity is at 100, right? You can duplicate or do the same for the rest of the vitamin. So when I come to this blur effect, I hit Ctrl J and then I bring it over here. You see, you have to play around with it before you get your satisfied kind of effect. So what I'll do here is go to motion blur, play around with the angle. Okay, you can see that. So I can also hit Ctrl U, the shortcut, to change the color from red, from orange kind to pick this color, right? All right, so you can do the same thing for the green B and this as well. So the next thing that I will do is that we'll create this simple font here, Taste the Milky Way, right? Taste the Milky Way. Let me hide this guy over here. All right, so I'll choose the text tool and I'll choose this font, Cute Dino. Taste. Okay, select Ctrl A and then hit over here, character, make sure the space is at 0. Taste the Milky Way. Okay, this is what we have here. So taste the Milky Way. So you select all of them, make sure you reduce the the space within, let's say 6, and then you play around with it, right? Okay, so what I'll do next is to make it italics, right? And then I'll have to make sure that I center it here, okay, to the middle. So what I'll do right now is to change the color of the font, right, to this kind of orange. Okay, All right, so it's not done. The next thing that you also do, or you can do, is to add some strokes to it, right? Okay, so let's move on. So you will do go to FX, yeah, FX here, and go to stroke. Now instead of stroke, click here and come to the color of the stroke, you change it to white, right? You reduce the size over here to this, and then you hit drop shadow, right? Okay, opacity, reduce the size of the shadow. Just play around with this, okay. Yeah, so basically that was the process that I used, and I think that if you continue to practice, you will do more than this. Yeah, so one effect that you can also add on the text is the gradient, but I also have other techniques that you can have on your gradient. Okay, so you just create an ellipse tool, and then draw a kind of oval circle, and then choose a white color, right? Reduce the opacity to this, and then on this opacity you make sure you create a clip marking, but you should make sure the ellipse tool is above the text, right? So you create a layer mask here. After creating your layer mask, what you do is to brush gently your ellipse tool, right? You can duplicate. Okay, you see that it is no more clip mask, but you still have to bring it in so that to fall in. So you change this one, make sure you click here, hold shift, and then you increase the size, Control J, do the same thing for way, reduce the size. Okay, I think that's pretty much okay with this. Yeah, so basically you can use this technique when you know that you are done with your typography, right? So you can click on this and then select the three, holding shift, right? And then you group them, right? So you use the move tool to change the orientation to this side. Okay, you can decide to increase the size of your typo. Okay, and then we have our ad done, right? Now the next thing that we can do right now is to play around with the color correction. So I'll just come over here, create color lookup. As I was saying in our previous tutorials, you don't have to abuse this effect here, because you are dreaming to become a professional graphic designer. No need for so much effect. Okay, these are brands, and brands are very careful in terms of using their colors and stuff. So what I'll do is that play around with these colors here, go down, down. I think even this is not bad already, but we have to reduce some parts of the opacity. This hits different, this also not bad. Okay, so I prefer this, so I think we should reduce the opacity because it is quite too much. Okay, we just want to make our poster or our billboard very exciting. Yeah, so pretty much this is the process that I use for creating this simple design over here, and I think that if you continue with practice, you will do better than I am doing. Yeah, practice make a man perfect. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to practice. You can ask if you want to practice for the how do you call it, the element that I use, the pictures that I use. But mind you, this picture was purchased. I purchased this picture, right? I purchased it, and then the line size is quite standard, so I cannot give it to anyone else unless I use it alone. So please, if you can find any picture online, you can probably use it for your design. Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you. See you next time.